Welcome to Finances with Felton. My name is Jeremy, and today I wanted to talk about the Thrift Savings Plan, or TSP. If you work for the federal government, you can put into TSP for your retirement, and they will actually match money that you put in your retirement. So this is for traditional TSP. Roth TSP is different, so stick with me, and please like and subscribe to my channel. And if you have any comments, please leave them down below. I will try to do a video a week, and that way I can keep everybody up to speed with things that will help them in their financial journey. If you have any comments of things you might want to see, please let me know down in the comments. Okay, let's get into TSP. Matching. How does it work? Your agency or service will automatically put 1% of your basic pay into TSP. Then, for every 1%, you add up to 3%, the agency or service will match it 1-for-1. At 4 and 5%, they will match at half a percentage. As you can see on the screen, even if you don't put any in, they're still going to put that 1% matching, quote unquote, because it's automatic. So you have that automatic 1% that's going to go in. Then for every percentage that you do put in, they'll match you. So if you put in 5%, which I urge you to at least do 5%, put that into your TSP if you're not doing that already, and then you will actually get 10% of your base pay into TSP for your retirement in the future. So please, if you are not doing it, stop this video right now and put at least 5% into your TSP. All right. After you've done that, you will see the benefits over time. Trust me. Because if you don't, you're giving away free money. And who doesn't like free money? Now, if you are trying to do a Roth TSP, you cannot get matching from the Roth. What you have to do is do 5% in the TSP for traditional, then do whatever extra percentage after that into the Roth. That way you won't miss out on that free money. So what is the difference between traditional and Roth? In basic terms, traditional, you will just be getting the benefit of not paying taxes up front. So if you put in $1, you're putting in $1 to get hopefully more profit in the end. You will get taxed when you take that money out. For the Roth side of it, if you put in $1, you might be putting in 80 cents. The benefit of that on the other side is that you're not getting taxed when you take that money out. So it just depends where your tax rate is. I will go over that in another video also about taxes so you can understand that. And that might lead you to want to do a Roth earlier stages, maybe a traditional later stages. But everybody's situation is different. So what are the options you have in TSP? Let's start with the Government Securities Investment Fund, otherwise known as the G Fund. This fund is like investing in government bonds or notes. This fund has no risk to it. You won't lose any of your money. You won't make as much though either. This fund is historically made a rate of return of about 4.66%. Next, the F Fund, or Fixed Income Index Investment Fund, is basically a fund that matches the US bond market. So this gives you a little bit more return, but a little bit more risk. Not a lot, just a little more. The average rate of return is about 5.15%. Next is the Common Stock Index Investment Fund, otherwise known as the C fund. So the C fund covers the S&P 500, or the top 500 stocks in the US stock market. So think of Apple, Nvidia, Amazon, all the things that we use every day. So this average rate of return is about 10.45%. Now your risk is going to be higher in this fund, but I believe that you're not as high as some of the other ones. So moving on, we have a small capitalization stock index investment fund, otherwise known as the S fund. So this fund uses the stocks that are not in the top 500. So there are some good stocks in there that are just not in the top 500 of stocks. Lululemon is one to say. So the average rate of return for this fund is about 8.09%. And then the last fund is the International Stock Index Investment Fund, or better known as the I fund. This fund follows the European, Australia, Asian, and Far East markets, their index markets. So this fund has an average rate of return of about 4.46%. So those are the different funds that you are investing in with TSP. Now, what you will also see is the life cycle funds. So those are just different funds that I just talked about mixed together. What that means is you could have, say, 10% in the G fund and 20% in the F fund, 50% in the C fund, 10% in the S fund, and 10% in the I fund. And that would be life cycle XYZ. So each one of those life cycles has different percentages of how they make up that life cycle. So that is another option if you want to mix around the different places where you put your money within TSP. You would just have to look through those funds, see if there's something there that might work for you. There's 10 different life cycle funds, and the life cycle funds have averaged about 4% to a little over 8% for their average. Now, I want you to remember TSP is for your retirement, but you can take out loans against it if you ever need it. As I've said previously, everyone's situation is different. You will pay yourself back rather than paying a bank back. The only fees you get are from the top, which is usually $50 or $100. All the interest that comes in to your fund, back to your fund, is whatever that G fund rate is. It's about what that is at that time that you take out your loan. So if you can help it, don't take a loan. But like I said, everyone's situation is different. And you want to get to the point of where you can max out your TSP. So what I mean by that has nothing to do with matching. It's in total dollars of what you can put into your retirement fund every year. So for the current year, it was $22,500. For this upcoming next year, in 2024, it's going to be $23,000 that you can put into your retirement fund. The best thing you can do is to max out this TSP fund. Like I said, for this upcoming one with the $23,000, you would want to start maxing out the last pay period of this year. What that means is pay period 26. Even though it's pay period 26 for 2023, it's actually the start of the calendar year. So if you're paid every 2 weeks, that would be $885 starting in pay period 6 or 26, pay period 26. So if you can max out, put $885 in for that period, great, do it. But if you want to do that max out for the whole year, if you start it at pay period 1, you're actually going to be missing one of those whole 2 weeks that you would get paid. So those 2 weeks start on the 26th payment of this cycle. Just remember that. I know it's a little bit odd, but the IRS sees it from January 1st to December 31st. That's just the way it works. So whenever you're getting paid inside those, that's when you want to start your payments. So if you are over 50, though, you can also do what is called a catch-up. So you can put in an additional $7,000 into TSP retirement account. So if you're maxing out your TSP with the 885, but you're also over 50 and you can put in more money, you can actually put in $1,174. Again, that would start on the 26th payment of this current year. That way you won't miss it. So I wanted to give a little advice here. If you can't max out, there's nothing wrong with that. But what I would encourage you is to add percentages, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 10, every time you get a pay increase, whatever that is, whether it's a step, whether it's a grade, a bonus. Put some more money into your TSP so you can get to the point of where you're maxing out. That will give you the best opportunities for retirement and having money in retirement. So you don't have to work, or you have to work very, very little. So now I wanted to do something fun because everybody likes to see money in numbers. So I wanted to do some compounding interest, and then you can really see what it can do with the compounding interest over time, especially if you're maxing out. Even if you're not, the numbers that you might be able to give yourself when you can retire. Okay, so I wanted to use this calculator and do interest and show you how that compounding will work for you. So even with a zero initial investment, hopefully as you go on, you won't have a zero investment anyway, but we're just going to give it a zero. We're going to say 8% interest rate. So that's yearly. And we're going to say for 15 years. Okay. So an average of 8% over 15 years at $17.70 every month. So this would be that max out for someone who's under 50 and being able to put in the max for the year of 2024. Again, this max will go up over time, but we're just going to use these numbers. As we calculate it here, as you can see, in 15 years, starting at zero, you will make over $300,000, or just about $300,000, excuse me, in total interest. Okay, so this is starting at zero in 15 years. Now, there's some people who will work longer and make more money, and so on and so forth. You can get one of these calculators and do it yourself. But even if we say, okay, well, you know what, I had a 20-year career and I was able to max out and I was getting 10%, and let's calculate and see. Now you're over $1 million, okay? Your interest is over $900,000 you made on your money. So this compounding will make you a lot of money if you just save. Take sacrifice sometimes and so on and so forth, but it's worth it in the end if you can retire and do whatever you want to do. A lot of people don't put a lot of money into TSP and they're only putting 5% in because they don't understand it. So I'm hoping after this video you guys will understand what you're doing and the importance of doing it. Okay, so now let's say it's been 5 years. I've got maybe $30,000 in there. I'm making 10%, and say I'm only going to work for 15 more years and I'm maxing out. What will that be? Sorry, I messed up. 30,000 here. Let's not 30,000. All right. Again, you're at almost $900,000 in total with over $500,000 in interest earned. I hope you can see what the compounding does over time. Okay. So get one of these calculators, figure out your own numbers, and see what it does for you. And maybe that will give you that little jump start if you're not investing, or if you need to put that extra 6%, 7%, 8%, 10% as you go up, and eventually being able to max out if you can get there. Again, everyone's situation is different, but the more you can put in, the better off you'll be. And I also wanted to give my opinion. So, red letters flashing, alert, alert. Just my opinion. Everybody has their own. I particularly like that C fund for people. Why? Because it's averaged about 10%. That 10% over the long haul is going to give you the most bang for your buck. Of all the other funds, in my opinion, that's the best one to just kind of put your money in there and forget about it. Leave it in there, and then when you retire, see what it is. Again, that's just a personal opinion. Everyone's going to be different. Leave some comments down below. Tell me what you do. And if you have any tips or tricks for people, please leave it down below. Everybody wants to know the information, and this can be their place to get it. The more educated we are, the better we'll be. So please leave me a comment down below. Tell me what you're listening to. If you have different advice of how you do your funds, all that information can help someone else also. Just want to say thank you again for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't. And just remember, the best and strongest days are Saturday and Sunday. Why? Because the rest are weekdays.